Hello and welcome to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney, and you have found the place where we talk about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. So if you have a question, a comment, or a concern, even just a concern, that's fine. We like those concerns. Question, comment, or concern about wills, trusts, or probate. And if you're wondering how that estate planning stuff works, if you have a thought, I don't know, even kind of a wandering thought about, how do I avoid going broke when it's all said and done, right? When it's before I die. I mean, we're not talking post-death here. We're talking about long-term care. I know nobody likes to talk about it, but there it is. It's the one thing that'll make you broke because you're not the kind of folks who go broke. That's why you're listening. And we can help out there. We also deal with real estate and business law. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, market's all crazy. Aren't they crazy? They're crazy. Yeah, it's true. Or business, trying to stay in business, difficult to do, right? Easy to start a business, thank goodness. Tough to stop one. 99.99%, something like that, of businesses in America are small businesses. And there's things that you can do to make sure you're not one of the whatever the enormous percentages that fail in the first couple of years. Really, some very basic, very fundamental things that can be done so that you are not a statistic other than, adding to the new ranks of the millionaires. Yeah, that's where that's where we want you to be. But that's only going to happen if you do it correctly. And where else to find out how to do it correctly? Well, you say, wait a second, how do I get a hold of you? And the answer is, give us a call right now, 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. That's the number. It goes right directly to the studio. And for you people down in listen on WKZO and the others, don't complain to me that it's long distance. There's no such thing as long distance anymore. Is there? I mean, I don't really think so. Anyway, 616-774-2424. Of course, you can always drop me an email. Love to get the electronic mail. You don't even have to put a stamp on it. That's how great it is. And the electronic mail, david@davidcarrierlaw.com. Could we make it easier? I don't know how. Oh, maybe you could go to the website, davidcarrierlaw.com, leave a message on the website. See? So all kinds of different ways to get hold of us if that's what you'd like to do. Now, we had I don't know if you guys noticed, there was an election recently, and that happened. And one of the things that I have been concerned about, frankly, for years, and it hasn't happened, but here it is. I think the stars are aligning in order for this horrible, bad, terrible, no good, very bad thing to happen. That's what I think. We'll see if it does. But with the last election, where our governor was so popular because everybody just loved what she did about everything. Now she's got majorities. It's one government, one party government is what we got here in the beautiful state of Michigan, and I guess we're Land O'Lakes, or is that Minnesota? Anyway. Winter water wonderland, right? That's one of our slogans there. So turn it all blue, I guess that's the idea. Anyway, now that we don't have divided government, now that we have, if they want it, they get it. I'm very concerned that something is going to happen, and I'll talk about it more, that I've been concerned about, like I say, for for years and years. And this started when I first got involved in the elder law thing. And that has to do with the house, your house. So here's the way it works right now. If you need help with long-term care, you got to go broke. All right. If you do what they tell you to do, but you don't have to, mind you, you don't have to. But if you do what they tell you to do, there go your life savings. There goes the IRA. There goes the 401k. There goes the CDs. There goes the cottage. There goes the classic car. There goes everything you've got, right? But they let you keep the house. Now, according to the Circuit Court in Muskegon, they won't let you paint the house. You can't actually do that unless you jump through some hoops that you're not aware of. So no paint the house, and you can't put a sticker on that car that they let you keep. You know, the sticker that the government sells you. I am not kidding about this. This just happened. And Circuit Court refused to take the appeal. They wouldn't even listen to us say, hey, isn't it kind of crazy to have a house and not let us paint it? They didn't want to hear it. I am not kidding you. I'm gonna get you a copy of the order. It's terrible. But that house, the house is protected. The house is protected. Yeah. How protected is the house if you can't paint it? Huh? What if you insured it? What if you spent your money insuring the house, right? And then they said, well, that's a waste of money to insure the house. Even years before, it's a waste of money to put a new roof on the house, the septic field in the house. Waste of money to mow the lawn. That was another one. Mow the lawn. You can't mow the lawn. It's a waste of money. You need to spend that on your long-term care. Even if you were still living in the house when you paid to get the thing mowed. I am not joking. Think I'm kidding? I am not kidding you. All right. That's where we're at. So, okay, but at least you get to keep it, right? Yay, you get to keep it. Hurrah. Well, here's the deal. You get to keep it until it goes through probate. And when it goes through probate, guess what? Now they want it back. You say, well, wait a second. Want it back? How can I get it back? Well, if you go broke paying for long-term care, right? And we're talking $12,000 to $15,000 a month. If you're talking nursing home care, now there's cheaper ways to do it. You can get that spiky-haired, green-haired, green plus blue-haired person with all the piercings. You can get them to come in your house. It's only like $30-40 an hour. That's cheap, right? Right. I mean, there's so many people who want to do that. All right. You could do that. You could do at-home care. That's cheap. Right. And what else is inexpensive? Jeepers, I don't know. Assisted living. That's so cheap. That's only $8,000 a month. Right. Okay. The thing is, these long-term care options for so many middle-class people mean what? Mean you're broke. And then when you're broke, and this is the way they want you to do it, right? Spend everything you got. And then you can have some back. You can get a little bit back on your tax dollars. You can get a little bit back on what you paid in. It's called Medicaid. Ooh, terrible word, right? Medicaid. Ooh, awful. Hey, it's the way 80% of folks in nursing home are paying for it. It's the way you're going to be paying for it. Unless you get an extra $15,000, $12,000, $15,000 or more hanging around. If you got that money hanging around, go listen to some music somewhere because, it might interest you because it works to save. What we're talking about here works to save your life savings. That's the whole point. Because like any other government program, you get a base level of care. You get a certain amount with the government program. How do you get extras like wearing your own clothes? How do you get extras? Well, the answer is you have to pay extra. Well, how are you going to pay extra if you don't have your life savings anymore? Good point. You can't. But if you did hang on to your funds, if you did hang on to your money, well, now you can. And that's what this is all about. Now, for most folks who, they did the Lady Bird deed because somebody said, oh, that's Medicaid friendly. That's a great thing. You did some stuff, right? You did some stuff. And now you've got the house left and you're thinking, well, at least I can leave my house to my kids. The answer is no, you can't. Not if it goes through probate, right? Because it's your taxes, right? Your taxes paid for this, but that's not good enough because they want you to pay again. They want you to pay back with your house, et cetera, et cetera. There's planning that folks are doing and they're saying, oh, this is great for the Medicaid because now you'll avoid probate and you won't have to worry that they're coming after your house. Well, that works so far. And as long as I've been doing this stuff, since Engler was the governor, All right. And I think it was I forget who it was before him. Who was it before Engler? Anyway, they've been fighting the government. Federal government's been saying the state of Michigan, you got to go after people's houses. 43 states already do. 43 states already put a Medicaid mortgage, put a lien on your house when you apply for Medicaid. Right? You may have heard me say this before. Minnesota does, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. All right. We're surrounded by states that come after your house now, sooner rather than later. They're not waiting until the thing goes through probate. Because why? Because they don't have to. That's why. All right. Michigan doesn't have to. But look they've been at, first of all, you had Engler, who was like, anything Washington tells me to do, like Bill Clinton, right? I ain't doing that. Okay. So then we're fighting. And now we've had, when you get Republicans in there, well, leave the House alone. That's fine. And now we've got one government. We've got unified government. And now no one's going to argue about taking the House. Are you with me on this? And here's the thing. In 2012, this was years ago, 10 years ago, right? We were facing, and who knows, now understand, I have no idea if this is going to happen by January 1st of this year. It might, because 10 years ago, it's been 10 years now, the lame duck session of the legislature almost pushed through this Medicaid mortgage law. They almost did it, right? Well, they didn't, thanks to some last minute huffly-buffly. But here's what it means. What it means is you thought you were safe. You thought it was all okay because you had this ladybird deed. No, you're not. And it's about, I've been saying this. It's like interest rates. Better late than never, right? To be correct. Eventually the interest rates had to come up. Well, now they're coming up. Glory, hallelujah. Eventually the state's going to get around to snagging your house, to putting that Medicaid mortgage on the house. I think we're just about there now. I really do. Because now we've got who's on the same page? The House and the Senate and the governor. Everybody's on the same page. And who are these people who are, in the great wisdom of the electorate, right? We're all so smart. We elected people who like to do what? Spend your money on what? Doing good things. Because why? Makes them feel better, I guess. Well, we're gonna explain this a little bit more. Give us a call. I know it's confusing because it is confusing, which is mostly what they're counting on. But it's just reality. It is mostly what they're counting on. But we'll cut through it. So give us a call, 616-774-2424. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. You have found the place where we talk about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. That's right, business law. So give us a call. Why don't you? 616-774-2424. We're talking about, what are the, people go vote in elections, makes them feel good, makes them feel bad, whatever. And then the question is, what is the real world impact? What's actually going to change, now that we've voted and we've done these things? Well, and who voted and who did they vote for and all the rest? Well, it turns out that our Generation Z people, because it's so easy to vote and who knows. But anyway, they voted. A lot of them voted, right? Which of course is obviously good, except that they have a different perspective than you do. I mean, no surprise on that one, is there? They have a little different perspective. They don't have a house. They want that loan forgiveness. Did you hear about that? Yeah, they're going to give away like $1 trillion to people who went to college to become baristas. I simplify. Actually, what's the worst of it all? It's like, see, here's the thing. If somebody pushed you to go to college, this is just a student loan giveaway, which isn't going to happen. You know what I mean? They keep pushing it off. They call it a moratorium or whatever, which is why the pandemic is still a thing, why it's still all emergency and stuff, right? So they can still do stuff like this. But they put it off like till June or something. the day of reckoning, and they can't legally do it. You remember in civics class, the power of the purse resides in Congress. Well, if you're going to spend $1 trillion, you get Congress to say, yeah, it's okay. Okay. And if you don't, you can't just give stuff away. You can't just give it away. And that's what the student loan thing is. It's just giving it away. Now, here's the thing. If you were deluded into going to school because everybody said, hey, it's the thing. Everybody goes to college. Here's some free money, pretty much free. But when you get out, you'll be a college grad and then it'll all be worth it, right? If that's what you did and you wound up pouring coffee someplace, okay, I kind of feel sorry for you. I do. I really, it's like, hey, you got sold a bill of goods. They didn't tell you had to bust your hump. They didn't tell you it's not, oh, look, I went to college, therefore here's all this money. It doesn't work like that. Okay. You go to college, that just means you got to work harder. I can understand why people are very disappointed by that. And now you're in a whole different competitive environment, right? And so for these people who got suckered into going to college, when what they should have been doing is open a restaurant, I don't know, doing something else, right? But, going to college, that's the thing, and then, of course, once you get there, what is it? Well, they're in competition for students. And so you get the luxury sports facilities and the rest, and the dorms and on and on and on. All right. You could be forgiven. I would forgive you for thinking that it was supposed to be a however long you can make the scam go country club. And people wind up not graduating, taking 6 years to graduate. This is nothing new. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. If you've got a family member who's gone to college, if they got through in 4 years, glory, hallelujah. Right? And who's been paying for it? Look in the mirror. You've been paying for it, supposedly with these student loans. Well, here's the thing. If you go to college for a couple of years, you got no degree, you got nothing worth showing, except for Ferris. Ferris is so brilliant because if you go for 2 years and you drop out, you get an associate's degree. Most places don't do that. Ferris State University in Big Rapids, yeah, they deserve a pat on the back. Maybe other people are doing it now. So far as I'm aware, it's only Ferris. But the idea is if you tried it and you didn't like it, well, at least you got a piece of paper saying you did something. Okay? Yay, something. But here's the thing. Most of the money isn't going to people like that. Do you see? Most of the money isn't going to people who you hate saying it, but they were kind of victimized by the whole, everybody's got to go to college kind of thing. All right. I think they were. And it's like, you poor sap. Well, at least I feel kind of, now you're pouring coffee and you don't even remember any quotes from your English literature or whatever the heck it was you studied. You can't even remember any of that stuff. And you didn't pay attention in class. Oh, and by the way, now that dope comes in gummies, you were high anyway. Okay, fine. And get off my lawn. Anyway, point being, I can kind of feel sorry for those folks. I really. But they're not the ones getting the money. You know who's getting the money? You know where the money's going? To people like me. If I had student loans, it's going to doctors, it's going to lawyers, it's going to business, it's going to the people who borrowed tons of money because they stuck with it. Do you see? It's not even going into the poor sap who's pumping gas I guess nobody pumps gas anymore. Well, it's not going to the people who really need it. Right? If you ask a doctor, hey, would you like me to forgive your student loans? What's the answer? Duh, of course I would. I'm not stupid. I made it through medical school, right? And I'm running, and now in 20 years it'll all be taken care of. I won't have to have paid it back anyway. That's what a lot of them are doing. And now they're going to make it 10 years instead of 20 and 5% of their income instead of 10%. Great deal. Great deal if you're on the other end. What if you're the one paying for it all? Right? Insanity. But that's what people voted for, because that's how you turn out the Gen Zs, or I don't know, whatever they're calling younger people nowadays. Besides punks. Anyway, sorry, no offense. Anyway, the point is, that's what we've got. We've got unified government now. We get government who can get what it wants. That's a scary thing. We should not have government that gets what it wants, because it doesn't want what you want. When we get back, I'll explain a little more what I mean by all that. But you can interrupt this fascinating conversation. 774-2424. 616-774-2424. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal. We were hoping to get some Thanksgiving, some thankful music here. And it's except for Sly and the Family Stone. I mean, come on, John, what are we doing? Let's if we can't get
I'm playing songs with thank you titles.
I know, but thanks for getting me off the antibiotics. What antipsychotics, whatever the heck that was. I don't know. It's supposed to be cheerful, like an attitude of gravity. Yeah, I know, but she's anorexic Morissette. Yeah, whatever. Anyway, let's see if we can. I don't know. Maybe something by the Andrews Sisters might be a little peppier. Whatever. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal, your family's thankful, grateful personal attorney. What are we talking about today? Well, we got unified government again. Hurrah for that. And for various reasons, and you can do your own political analysis, because I wouldn't go near political topics with a 10-foot pole. Make it a 20-foot pole, because you know me, I would not sully this show with political anything. No, I would not, because we're pure as the driven snow. Because everyone knows that lawyers are in the legal system and everything, that's all totally non-political. It has nothing to do with politics whatsoever. And now I got to go to confession. Anyway, point is, we now have unified government. For the last 20, 30 years, Michigan has benefited from divided government, pretty much divided. And here's what this means to you. What it means to you is, with the long-term care stuff, if you receive help with long-term care, and you will, okay? And you will. You can tell me you won't, which just reminds me that Cleopatra was not the only queen of denial, okay? Or Mark Antony, not the only prince of denial. So here's the thing. If you receive help with long-term care, just like you received help with your income, called Social Security, just like you received help with your medical bills, called Medicare, right? The thing that helps you out with long-term care, it's not Medicare, it's Medicaid. That's the deal, okay? That's just the deal. That is how America pays for long-term care. It's always been that way. And I mean, at least as I've been doing this, and it's only been pretty soon it'll be 33 years, right? Been after this stuff. So as long as I've been around watching it, the Medicaid system, not Medicare, that's the other taxpayer-supported system, not Social Security, that's another taxpayer-supported system. Medicaid has been the way we pay for this group of services, the thing. And in most states, 43 states, when you apply for Medicaid, they put a lien on your house. If you've got anything left, they're going to put a lien on it. Okay? That's what they're going to do. 43 states. 7 states don't, including Michigan, which is a great good deal. Why? Because now you don't lose your house necessarily. But if your house went through probate, another one of these things that drives me crazy, right? Oh, do the estate planning, avoid probate. Yeah, it could work, but it doesn't, because they don't fund it. They don't follow through. There's no follow through on that. So, but let's forget about that for the moment. Let's not get excited. It's not going to matter anymore, because for as long as I've been at this, the federal government has wanted the state government to do the liens, to put the Medicaid mortgage on your house when you apply for Medicaid. And when the Canadian was governor over here, mayor, whatever, that Canadian lady, Jennifer Granholm, right? When she was governor of the state of Michigan in 2012, they almost got it. She's a citizen now too. I'm not denying that. Yeah. I mean, she used to be Canadian. Now she's American, right? Because she's so smart. That's why she's so talented. Anyway, in 2012, they tried to do this. They were going to give us one of the most up-to-date, modern, meaning punishing Medicaid recovery, enhanced. They make it sound good, right? It's enhanced. Good for them. Enhanced estate recovery. All right. But it didn't get through. It didn't even get to the floor. They didn't even have a vote on it. But 10 years ago, they went through all the work of putting this dang thing together. And it's just been kind of sitting on the shelf. So that when the moment arrives where you got all the same political party, and again, we don't go near politics around here because politics, oh my goodness, nobody wants to hear a lawyer talking about politics. And so certainly I would never talk about politics. Never. But anyway, once we get to the point where there's nobody opposing it, right? When they're all on the same team, my thought is, have you ever met a politician who didn't want more of your money? Have you ever met it? I don't care, red, green, or blue, whatever. Have you met any of them who can't think of better things to spend your money on than you can? Right? They always need more money. And this is a way that 43 states are already doing it, right? The law's already been written. Oh, it wasn't us. It was those guys 10 years ago. All we did was pass it. Okay. You think this COVID hasn't cost tons of money? It has. I think the state's finances are all screwed up. They are. Even California was running budget surpluses. You look at that, you say, how the hell is California running budget surpluses while they're building that railroad train to nowhere and doing all the rest of crazy California stuff? How's that even possible? Well, it turns out it's not possible, which is now they've got a $26 billion deficit and nowhere to turn. Okay, fine. That's California. Okay. But do you think Michigan's in so much greater shape? Right. So here's the thing. They always need more money. A very easy way for them to get more money is to come after your house, right? Even if it doesn't go through probate. What this means is everybody who did a ladybird deed, forget about it. In the states with the estate recovery, this enhanced estate recovery, which my bold prediction is we're going to get it here, good and hard. We're going to get it, right? When we've got it, those ladybird deeds are out the window. The whole point of doing it was to avoid probate so they didn't get your house when it went through probate. That was the whole point. Okay. Well, it's not the point anymore, or it's not going to be. That's my prediction. Well, watch the space, and I'll let you know if and when they get around to grabbing up your house. My prediction is they're going to do it because that's what they do. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show, the non-political, non-partisan, never have an opinion on anything show. And if you'd like to express your opinion, because I don't have any, give us a call at 616-774-2424. And if you can suggest a happy thanks song, we'd like it for this, most show closest to Thanksgiving after Thanksgiving show. Like, some good music like that. Okay? I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. And now's the time to give us a call, 616-774-2424. Now, look, I've been beating the gong on this estate recovery stuff for a long time. Yes, I have. Because why? Because it's important. Because so many folks are relying on, Medicaid's not going to take the house. And they don't take it right away. That's true. And then they go, I got a ladybird deed. That's Medicaid friendly. It's all going to be okay. And it plays right into the hands of the people who, and it's all of us, frankly, who want things to be easy, want things to be simple, want things to be, oh, it's no big deal. Except that it is a big deal. I think. I don't know. If you don't care about your house, why do I care about it? I suppose. But most people do. I mean, they'd like to get some benefit from what, you paid off. Remember, 20 years later, after you paid off the mortgage, had the mortgage burning party. It was like, it was important, seemed important. And your house can be used as a store of value for you, for your family. I mean, if you look around these days, do you see things getting easier? Do you think, I mean, if somebody tell you, well, luck and pluck, right? Remember Jack Armstrong, those books? I mean, those were before my time even, but it was the kind of thing where if you worked hard, good things would happen. Okay. And nowadays, and you could work your way through school, and there were inspirational stories about people did it, and they inspired me anyway. Okay, that can be done. That's part of the future. That's part of what I can reasonably expect, is that I will do these things and good things will happen. But nowadays, don't you get the sense that things are a little bit different? Don't you get the sense that, and for the longest time I was against this idea, that it's not like you owe your kids anything. You brought them into the world. They got fed till a certain point. Now they're supposed to feed themselves. Okay, I'm good with that. On the other hand, if you could leave them something, that'd be better than leaving them nothing. And it's a different deal. It seems to me it's a different deal these days, right? Everything's more difficult. There's goofiness going on. We got the inflation. We got the recession. We got all this stuff, right? And so, and we got the government wants more and more of your stuff than ever before, than ever in the history of the world before, right? So what's so bad? What's so bad? What's so awful about leaving a little something for your kids? What's so bad about doing a little, people say, ooh, it should be, $150 to do a deed. Well, yeah, $150 to do a deed. Okay. You expect to get hundreds of thousands of dollars of government benefits out of the government. Right? These are the people who make it difficult for you to give them money. If you fill a tax return, right? They make it difficult for you to give them the money because they got all this stuff going on, right? And now you think they're going to make it easy for you to get something out of them, for them not to, scrape every last bit of, meat off the bone, your bones. You think they're not going to do? Oh, come on. They are. Or do you? I mean, maybe that's just all ridiculous, right? Because we all know the government has too much money and they know it. We all know that the government wants to leave you with your money. As I say, completely non-political. Because really it is. I mean, non-political. I mean, if you said, oh, it's all politics, well, you'd have to say that there's another side to it. Have you ever met a politician who had enough money? Have you ever met a politician who did more than lip service to the idea that, maybe taking more of your stuff is a bad idea? Have you? I haven't. Sometimes you get lip service, which is nice. Oh yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna cut spending. Right. Till they get there. and then we're right off to the races again. So that's what I'm talking about. I mean, it seems to me with this unifying government that we have, right? Now it's all one party. And they could do it during the lame duck, and they could do it when it really is true blue. Either way, it doesn't matter anymore. They used to save the unpopular stuff for the lame duck session. The session between the election and New Year's, when the new folks get in there. That's when they used to do the unpopular stuff. But when you got one party government, you don't have to. In fact, you can package it up however you choose. And if you had a compliant media, somebody who just agreed with you on everything, of course, that would never happen, right? Because the newspapers and the radio stations and TV, they're all very, very impartial, right? And they're gonna give you the straight story on everything, because that's what they do. They give you the straight story. So, you don't have to worry about that. But if they want to get this thing through, they're not gonna have any trouble doing it. There's a million ways to present it in such a way that it'll just slide on through, and then goodbye to the ladybird deeds, goodbye to leaving anything to your kids at all. And that's what I see. That's what I see happening. For the longest time, we've skated on there being divided because they hated each other. I mean, and this is nothing new. I mean, I've said this for years. They hate each other so much they'll never agree to it, even though they would both like more of your money. They don't want the other one to get credit. Well, that safeguard is gone. Okay, we decided, Michiganians, saps, we all agreed that putting all the power on one side is a good idea. How and why we decided that? Well, there's a quote from a guy named H.L. Mencken, which goes that democracy is the theory that the common people know what they want and deserve to get it. Good and hard. The good and hard is coming. We'll see. Life's never as bad as you think. So, okay, maybe we'll dodge some of the stuff. But in the meantime, there are planning things that you can do. I mean, one of the things, for as long as we've been at this, we've been worried. I've been, and maybe I'm just paranoid or whatever, but I mean, I've been worried that we're going to get this estate recovery. The only question is when, right? And because we don't know when, you don't plan, like in the Army, right? In the military, we just found out over the last year or so that the Russians were paper tiger, right? They didn't maintain their vehicles. They didn't do their training, on and on and on. But we didn't know that. What we knew was, here's the tanks they got, here's the this and that. And so you don't prepare based on the, hey, I think they're a bunch of idiots. You don't do that, who can't hurt us. You plan, military, you plan based on their worst capability. Well, evaluate their capability and say, yeah, it looks to me like these are things I really got to worry about. And you plan for the worst case scenario. I just brought that over to estate planning. It's a very old military thing. You don't plan for what they intend to do. You plan for what they're capable of doing, right? And you don't soft pedal the capabilities. So you wind up overspending. Oh, well, at least you're still alive. At least your tanks actually work. If you actually had to go to battle, it would work. And so to some extent, maybe we over-engineer things in terms of the estate planning, but you know what? It works. And isn't that the test? Seems like to me. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. And be grateful. Welcome to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. And you have found the place where we talk at least, about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. So give us a call. Why don't you? 616-774-2424. We'll get your question, comment, or concern on the air, like I say, eventually. Anyway, we talking a little bit about the, and not politics, because, that would be bad, but instead about the, what does it mean that we have one-party government now in Michigan? What does that mean? What are the consequences to you? And it seems to me that one of the consequences is going to be that they're going to start coming after the House, like they already planned to 10 years ago. And now we're actually going to get it because there's nobody to oppose coming after the House. Government always needs more money, et cetera, et cetera. If you have a question about that, if I wasn't clear, give us a call, 616-774-2424. And we can get to some, why don't we get to some legal questions? How about that? You want to do things sort of legally here. So how can I, here's an email. How can I force my sister to buy me out of our home? My mom died and my sister made herself administrator of the property. She told me not to come to court. That's always good advice. If a family member who wants what you got tells you not to come to court, of course, don't do it because, you don't need to find out about that stuff. Do not come to court. She would handle everything. Well, little did I know at the time what was happening. She lives in our house. So now mom's gone and the two of them own the house where sister is living with her 3 grown kids. And me and my kids are homeless. All right. So that's not a good situation. Can I force her to buy me out? she's now the grantor and administrator because I need the money to take care of mine. She's been paying taxes on the house since 15 years, and I've been living from place to place. What rights do I have? Well, here's the thing. Let's assume that you are both beneficiaries. That's why sister had to go to probate court. Let's assume that that's what happened. And now you're on the house. As we've said so many times, let's hope that didn't happen. Let's hope the house is still in probate, because if it is, then at least you can go to probate court and say, "Hey, judge, let's sell the house," right? And that would be just part of a normal probate process. But if what the administrator did, personal representative, we call them, right? If what the personal representative, executor, sometimes you call it, if that person deeded the house out to you in equal shares, okay, now you're kind of stuck depending on how they did it. Now you have to go a whole nother court process. Now you have to go and partition the property. In other words, force a sale. Now you're going right back to probate court. It used to be easier. Now it's not easier anymore if you're joint tenants in the thing. What if she said, "Oh, don't bother coming to court. Don't worry your pretty little head about it," right? And you don't go to court. And what she was doing was asking the judge to distribute the property as joint tenants with rights of survivorship. She could have been doing that. You don't know. You didn't show up. Maybe you didn't even get the paperwork. Who knows? But if the judge had ordered that, that means that whoever lives longest gets the whole thing. And in the meantime, the judge cannot order a partition. The court can't order forced sale and then division of the proceeds, which would normally happen in a probate proceeding, which would normally happen if you've got tenants in common who can't get along. But if you get joint tenants with rights of survivorship, which incidentally is how most people do it, which all you're doing is condemning your kids, to misery at the mercy of the worst one. Think of your kids. Maybe you got 3 kids, right? Who's the worst kid? Okay, everybody's at their mercy now. But that's why I didn't put Bobby in charge. I didn't put Bobby in charge because, Susie do a much better job and, she gets along and et cetera. And everybody knows what that one's like. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter if you put them on the deed. It doesn't matter. You chained them all together with no recourse if it's joint tenants with rights of survivorship, and with very little recourse, expensive recourse, if it's the other way. You just put all their names on it. It didn't say joint tenants with rights of survivorship. So this is, how can I force the sister? Well, you got to go to probate court. You're homeless. I get it. And that's what it says, right? Me and my kids are homeless is what it says. Well, you need to get yourself an attorney is what you need to do. And you need to figure out what the heck is going on with this thing. Because I'll tell you what, it is not that unusual. Not that unusual that these things happen. And a little bit of planning, a little bit, not listening to whatever somebody said, but actually doing some planning, that can make the difference between disaster like this and things working out well. Let's go to here's another one. This is interesting, right? So if my wife goes to nursing home in Alabama and I stay in the Michigan home, will Medicaid put a lien on the home? This is what I've been talking about for the last hour. The Medicaid liens, which we don't have, but other states do. Also, how long would the lien? Just trying to figure out if one spouse goes to nursing home, the other spouse stays in the home, goes to nursing home in Alabama, and the other one stays in the home in Michigan. Does Medicaid, it'd be Alabama Medicaid, put a lien on the house? So if I have to sell a later time, if they're lien, for how long does that apply? The answer is forever. Forever. It's a government lien, and it starts out at 10 years? Is it 6 years or 10 years? Anyway, who cares? They're going to renew them. That's what they do, right? Even the ones that go through probate, if you got somebody still living in there, right? It puts off the estate recovery. It doesn't eliminate it. It just puts it off. They want their money, and eventually they're going to get their money out of your house. If you have, because Alabama is one of those states, 43 of them, it's almost all of them, 43 of them all right, where they come after your house and they don't wait. They put the lien on. Sure, you can, spouse can live in it. Fine. Spouse can live in it. Go ahead. Enjoy. You can't sell it without paying us back, right? You can't give it to your kids without paying us back, all right? And understand, this is the way it is in most every other state. It's not that way in Michigan. And so the question is, can Alabama put a lien on Michigan property? Well, of course they can. Of course they can. See, we've had, I don't know, at least half a dozen. I don't know how many. Anyway, quite a few. It makes an impression. People moving from Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, moving to Michigan. Now, they got kids in Michigan anyway. So it wasn't, strictly speaking, a Medicaid strategy, is they wanted to be with their kids. But they're moving because they don't want to lose the farm. They don't want to lose the house in Chicago. They don't want the liens that they're going to get if they stayed in their own state. So mom and dad come to Michigan, right? And Michigan doesn't put a lien on the house, on the farm, on the hunting property, whatever. Michigan doesn't do that. Everybody else does, practically. I mean, there's 7 states that don't, right? But pretty much everyone else does. And so that's what Michigan's going. It seems like to me, it seems very obvious to me that this is the direction Michigan's going in, that now that we've got, unified government, one party state and all the rest, great. Now who's going to look out for you besides me? I mean, in the legislature, right? I mean, there's things we can do to plan around this, but it's been, and we have been doing that right along, because who trusts the politicians anyway? Right? I mean, who trusts them? I don't. Who believes that they're not going to come after your house? I believe they're going to, and just as soon as they can. And now that they don't have a political reason, right? It's not an ongoing fight. Oh, we hate the governor and the governor hates us and we all hate each other. And so therefore we're not going to get along. And therefore you get to keep your house, which is the way it's been. If instead it goes to, hey, now we all like each other, and, oh, look at there. It's not fair that you should keep your house. It's not fair that you should keep your cottage. That's not fair. We're going to be fair. What is fair? Fair is you stripped naked and kicked in the ass on the way out the door. That's fair. All right. Now they're not going to put it exactly. They're not going to put it exactly that way. It'll be a little more genteel. But if you don't think that's what's going on, wake up and smell the coffee, because that's what's going on. And now that we've got as I say, now that we've got the, people in their wisdom decided, hey, let's all be run by, let's make sure there are no limits on what the government's going to do to us, right? Okay, reap the whirlwind. Here it comes. But this is a good example of another state affecting Michigan property. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. It's something to be thankful for, huh? 2 years in a row. Take that, you Buckeyes. So, very proud. And, of course, now it looks like Michigan's in the playoff, right? So that's all, this is all good stuff. See, so many good things happening. Of course, Notre Dame got beat by USC, which is not a good thing, but there you are. Can't have, got to take a few roughs with the smooth, I guess. So this is the place where we talk about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. So give us a call, why don't you? 616-774-2424. That's area code 616-774-2424. And we'll get your question on the air. We also take emails. Love to get the emails. David, that's a little A in the circle thing. That's at. Anyway, David at davidcarrierlaw.com. David Carrier Law, all one word, squish it all together. Or go to the website, davidcarrierlaw.com. You can leave us a message. Leave us a message there. Plus, all kinds of good stuff on that website. You know what I mean? All kinds of good stuff. So we're trying to work our way through some of our emails here. So my mom has dementia. That happens. My brother was her power of attorney. Okay. Until 3 weeks ago, when he was arrested on 6 counts of child molestation. Oh my God. So with my mom's POA in jail where he belongs, my sister, who's 11 months older, hid this from me. I found out on Thanksgiving. I also found out my sister moved in with my mom with mom's dementia and has sold my mom's cattle. I guess we got a farm. Selling the ranch, RV, ATV, boat, and many other objects my mom owns, and paying for some of my brother's legal fees with this money. Big no-no. Can't do that. On top of that, my sister's grown kids are opportunists for a free ride, always have been. Well, again, no surprises. They're selling the ranch, giving her kids and mom's belongings. What can I do? Mom has dementia, does not understand the depth of the situation. Can she sell my mom's things for my brother's legal fees? Absolutely not. No way. How's that happening? Depends, of course. What does the power of attorney say? Is sister just doing this? Is she taking advantage of mom with dementia? Does sister have power of attorney? Is she the trustee? So many questions. Let's see. Sister also stated she's selling mom's ranch, and when the check comes in, she'll put the mom ranch money in sister's account. State cannot get the money. That is not true. That doesn't even begin. This is the over the backyard fence sort of legal stuff. This is the sort of stuff that you hear about, and unfortunately see quite a bit of. But it isn't true. None of this is true. When you do a Medicaid application, right, and when you do one, it's up to a 5-year audit. We've had them go back 5 years. What'd you do with that ATM money? Well, how the hell do I remember what I did with the ATM money? It was 4 years ago, 4.5, 5 years ago. How do I know? Oh, well, then you must have given it away because that's the presumption. Are you with me on this? So if you're using money on child molester brothers' legal fees, that's a big no-no. It ain't gonna work. And this idea that somehow or other it's beyond the reach of the state. Oh my goodness. They do a state, what they call asset detection is what they call it, and they're pretty good at it. And they get better all the time. I mean, what are you thinking here? None of this is right. So the state cannot get the money when mom needs nursing home, which won't be far off. Mom is clueless. Okay. This is a case for where you have to go 2 tracks. One is adult protective services, because somebody's got to put a stop to this, right? And if they're too busy or not interested or what have you, then you need to go in. You should be doing this two tracks anyway. On the one hand, you go to adult protective services, you get them involved. On the other hand, you get your own lawyer and you go to probate court and you start putting a stop to this kind of stuff. We'll get back to this in just a minute, but we've got Kelly on the line. Hello, Kelly. Welcome to the David Carrier Show.
Hello. I have a question. My in-laws are getting up in years. They have a home that they have a mortgage on.
Uh-huh.
My husband and his sister are concerned about the house going into probate.
Sure.
My sister-in-law mentioned a ladybird deed, but I don't know what that is.
So a ladybird deed, and I think it comes from the nursery, with the ladybug, where you say ladybird, ladybird, fly away home, and you flick them off and they come back. The idea is that you're deeding out the house, but not really, because the deed doesn't take effect until you die. See, what people used to do is they would, quote unquote, put the kids on the deed, which meant that the house wasn't yours anymore. And yeah, it avoided probate, but the house, you're still alive and the house isn't yours because you put these people on the deed. The ladybird deed, the advantage of it, and it's been around in Michigan, since the 1840s. So it's been around a lot. But it only became really popular, I would say, in the last 5 years, 10 years, something like that, as a way to transfer property to the kids without having Medicaid consequences to it. Now, the problem with the ladybird deed is it depends on Michigan not being one of the states, and there's 43 already, that puts a Medicaid mortgage on your house. You see, because right now, if you avoid probate, state can't get your house, even if you receive long-term care benefits through the Medicaid. You still can't get it because you avoided probate. But if the house goes through probate, now they're coming after it. The problem with this is nothing stays the same. And it assumes that Michigan politicians will never figure out that they could get a heck of a lot more money if they put the lien on up front instead of waiting through probate at the back end. And, now that we've got one party is running the whole state government, both houses of the legislature and the governor, well, now there's nobody to fight it anymore. I mean, they used to fight out of general principles, they just argue with each other. But now we got nobody doing that. And so what they almost passed 10 years ago, which was this Medicaid mortgage thing, they almost did it 10 years ago. Well, that law is still around. They just haven't passed it yet. And so I'm very concerned that we're going to go to that. We're going to get these Medicaid liens so that the Ladybird deed, which says you can still put a lien on the property, you can sell the property, you can mortgage the property, you can do whatever you want with the property until you die, and then it goes to whoever you put on the deed. Well, you can also, the state can also put the Medicaid mortgage on, the Medicaid lien. Do you see? And in most states where they have this estate recovery, where they do put the lien on, Ladybird deeds just don't work, and there's no point to them. So that's the deal with the Ladybird deeds. Does that make sense?
That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kelly. Thanks for calling. Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. We ran out of time there a little bit towards the end with Kelly's question about the Ladybird deed. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the Ladybird deed, like so many other, 616-774-2424. That's the number to call, 616-774-2424. If you'd like to get your question, comment, or concern on the air. Now, why do we, why am I against Ladybird deeds? I'm not. As a matter of fact, we use them all the time. They're very useful, very handy, if that's what you need. But it's like anything else. A shovel is very useful, but not if you're serving Thanksgiving turkey, right? It's a useful tool, but unfortunately, people have gotten the idea that it's sort of the answer. And, well, it's not the answer. It's a tool. It's part of the answer. It's something that's good to use, right? And it is so much better than what people were doing before, because before they were putting their kids on the deed. Now you're stuck with the kids on the deed. And if the kids don't want to get off the deed, they don't have to. People think they're still in control when they do these deeds. Well, with the Ladybird deed, you are. The problem is the very thing that makes it useful in this situation also makes it vulnerable when the state decides they're coming after your stuff because you've got no defense. See, that's the problem with the Ladybird deed. It just assumes that nothing's ever going to change. Well, when was the last time that happened? When was the last time, that the government had an opportunity to shake you down and decided not to, except for when they're giving, student loan money away in order to buy a bunch of votes? Oh, did I say that? No, I didn't. No, I don't know who said that. There must have been technical difficulties. Yeah, that's right. Because I would certainly never say anything political like that. Because, hearing a lawyer say political stuff, however objective and however it affects you on your day-to-day life, well, we don't want that. So we've been told. So that's why I would never, ever say anything political. Not me. Anyway, the Ladybird deed, useful tool. We use it all the time, especially when people haven't planned ahead. But the problem is, as I see it, the problem is that you got people thinking it's a solution. And so instead of planning ahead for the worst that can happen, people just assuming everything's going to be great. There's so many people out there, and ask yourself if this isn't you. Your whole long-term care estate plan, your long-term care plan is, it ain't going to happen to me. Well, maybe it won't, maybe it won't. So I guess that's why that maybe it won't. That's why you don't buy a winter coat, because maybe this year the snow won't fall. Right. And that's why you don't bother going grocery shopping, because maybe or working, because maybe today's the day Ed McMahon's going to show up with the Publishers Clearinghouse check. right? I mean, could it happen? I suppose. But when 70% of folks need the long-term care at age 65, that's your chance, 70%. At age 65, you have a 70% chance of needing, on average, 3 years of long-term care. It's not my number. Go to longtermcare.gov. It's the government telling you this. So, of course, everything the government says you can absolutely believe. Although you wouldn't want to be a long-term care denier, would you? You wouldn't want to be a long-term care.gov denier. Oh, heck no. They tell you, you got to believe it. And there it is. It's on the website. So, and it's pretty consistent. I mean, I know we all wish that bad things didn't happen to us, but sometimes they do. This is why we buckle up. This is why we do other sorts of things. Okay. Let's see. If we want to get to do a few more emails. Yeah. Here's a good one, kind of basic. How does a person invoke a power of attorney? I've been living far away from my mom for several years now. She's 83, has been advancing dementia. There are things that siblings, brothers and sisters are doing that are financially and also physically abusive. Oof. I would like one brother to stop being her payee, representative payee. That means that this brother is accountable to Social Security. He gets the Social Security check and he's responsible for that. I would like another brother to stop claiming her as dependent on his taxes. Neither of them is providing for her. So we got one guy doing tax fraud and the other one, who knows what he's doing. I have the durable power of attorney, a general power of attorney. They have been signed and notarized several years ago, but I've never used them. Well, okay, so why not, right? How do I go about informing anyone that what they're doing needs to stop or something needs to change and what's taking place? Is there a letter or notice or something I can just send? See, this is the kind of question, right? Is there a letter or notice or something I can just send to them? It's a 4-letter word. Can I just do this? Can I just do that? And then everything solve itself. The answer is usually no. Can I just stick a turkey in the oven? No. You got to take the plastic wrap off. Oh, and it'd be nice if you thawed it. Oh, and it'd be nice if you put some stuffing in there. That'd be tasty. And you got to do, you got to preheat the oven. Can I just put, no. Plus people like mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes, green bean casserole and stuff like that. Can I just do a turkey for Thanksgiving? No. Having clean dishes too would be nice, right? There's a whole lot of stuff that goes into this. Why is it, when you look at the things that you do every day or routinely, like you're going to have breakfast. Okay, what do you got to have breakfast? Well, there's the toast and the butter and the cereal and maybe an egg. And you know what I mean? There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on with most everything else you do. And now you're talking about the most fundamental issues about you living your life well as long as you can, taking care of your parents and stuff. And then people are like, can I just send them something? Wait, how's that supposed to work? I mean, is that like anything else in your life that works that way? Now, listen, you've been sold a bill of goods. I get it. Because people say, oh, all you need is a ladybird deed. All you need is this or that. It's really very simple. It's really not very simple. Because the simple way leads to probate. Probate leads to huge attorney fees, ridiculous attorney fees. Not ridiculous because, of course, I would never characterize attorney fees as ridiculous. Anyway, so is there a letter or notice or something I can just send them or have them served with something? What? The cranberry dressing? What do you want to serve them with? If you're going to be involved, you got to understand the thing with this is if you're going to go into it, you got to go in with both feet. See, a conflict situation, if you think about it like this is how I think about it. Any sort of litigation, what have you. It's a bar fight. Okay. There are no rules in a bar fight. I used to 10 bar. I mean, that's how that's one of the ways I made it through good old Notre Dame. And it was a towny bar, right? And Fat Wally's. And when Michigan State came to town, the Michigan State players came to the bar, and it did not end well. It did not end well. There was a ruckus there. But you don't get you just don't get to say, oh, I don't feel like having a bar fight anymore. It doesn't work like that. If you're gonna look out for mom, if you got brothers who are taking advantage, and it looks like you do, all right, in for a dime, in for a dollar. Now you can wash your hands of your mom. You can say, well, sorry, mom. They're your kids. You raised them, and this is how they're going to behave. And not my worry. I got other things to worry about. You could do that. Okay. If that's what you want to do, who am I to judge? Okay. But mom trusted you, gave you the power of attorney, named you as her attorney, in fact, and you seem to feel some, outrage at this going on. But you got to understand, there's no doing it 5 minutes a day. That book, the 4-hour work week, the 4-hour a week trustee. It doesn't work like that. It's a bar fight. Once you're in, you're committed. Okay. And that's just the way it is. Okay. So you got to, if you're going to do it, you got to do it all the way. Don't be looking for a quick fix, easy solution, easy out. There isn't any. You got to accept the damage to the family relationships. You got to understand that you're doing this to protect your mom. That's what you got to do. And you got to be willing to do that and to follow through. Because if you're not, you might as well not even start. All right. If you're not going to see it through, like I say, now's the time to hit the fire escape. Now's the time to go out the fire exit. Right. If you're going to stick around, grab a bottle and hit someone over the head with it. If you're not going to stick around, then get the heck out. But it's one or the other. That's how I look at it. You've been listening to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, hitting you over the head with a bottle of truth. Your family's personal attorney.
Frederick Meyer Gardens and Sculpture Park presents Double Take. Mel Chin and Elizabeth.
Welcome back to the David Carrier Show. I'm David Carrier, your family's personal attorney. And you have found the place where we talk about estate planning, elder law, real estate, and business law. So I've been kind of busy the last few months because there's a sort of a leftover COVID program called the Employee Retention Tax Credit. Now, this is for business owners. And the fact of the matter is that very few people actually took advantage of the thing. And it was one of those things that was probably just going to die out. You know what I mean? But then we got hit with recession. We got this inflation, which is, we haven't seen the end of it. We've got a 20-day supply of diesel in the country. I mean, things are messed up. And this was a program that was based on based on businesses keeping their employees during the pandemic. It's all figured on how many people did you keep on paying. Okay. So it's very tightly aligned to this employee retention credit, to retaining employees. Duh, that means right in the name. But that's how it's figured. The thing is that most businesses, who knows what the, 80%, is it 90%, is it 55%? I don't know. But it's just a lot of them didn't take advantage of it because it's kind of complex. It's kind of confusing, which it is, complex and confusing. So we've been working the last few months because I was approached by you see these people advertising on the TV, ooh, get your employee retention tax credit. A lot of these folks kind of overstate the situation, but so you got to be careful about that. But we are working with folks who need to get those employee retention tax credits, business owners primarily. And we've actually gotten, we had in Grand Rapids last weekend. This is why the show wasn't live last weekend, because we were processing cases, hundreds of cases. And we had about 60 attorneys from all over the country came to, we set up in the governor's ballroom at Amway, at the Amway Grand to train the attorneys on how to do these cases and stuff like that. So there's some big things going on. If we can find a way to help out, the business community, that's what we're going to do. And, I was called by one of these companies to see what I could, who I could put together. So I made a few phone calls. Next thing you know, we've got 60 lawyers and 35 support staff, mostly from our office. People just doing a really good job trying to keep small businesses alive. I don't know if you've noticed it, but this has been this whole pandemic and the reaction to it and the follow-on's been very, very hard, very, very difficult for small businesses to stay alive. Very difficult. And so this is one of the things, we do the radio show and we talk about this stuff. Oh, we've got Jerry on line one. Good morning, Jerry. Welcome to the David Carrier Show.
Good morning. Did I hear you say something about the government helping out guys with COPD?
Well, if you have COPD, which is the chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, that's one of those things that
Right.
if you on oxygen therapy or if it limits you, where you can qualify for the PACE program of all-inclusive care for the elderly. This is a Medicaid program. You can't have more than $2,200, figured $2,200 a month of income. I forget what the exact number is, and it's going to change next month, but it'll bump up. But the PACE program, I'm such a fan of it because it keeps you in your home. It provides just the care that you need, so it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot less expensive for folk, a lot less expensive for the government, and it's very tailored to getting you what you need. So if you have the COPD and you're on oxygen therapy, or if you've got other disabilities, what have you, it makes sense to pick up the phone, at least make the call. It doesn't cost you anything to find out whether or not this might be something you'd be willing to pursue. The other thing with PACE, yeah, and this has been, and they still haven't. So starting a couple of years ago during the pandemic, they said, hey, we don't care if you give your stuff away. We don't care if you divest assets. You can still qualify for PACE. They came out and said that. And then they said a few more times when PACE wasn't going to do that anymore, but they never yet have said, we're going to start enforcing the old rules, the rules for everybody else. We're still in this COVID rule thing. And when's it going to end? I mean, I thought it would be over months ago. In fact, that's what they said. But right now it's kind of watch this space. So if you're really seriously, if you got the COPD and it's affecting your life and you've got the oxygen therapy and all the rest of the stuff right now, and a lot of people are like, well, if I have to give up everything, if I'm going to qualify for Medicaid, I got to be broke. And the answer is, well, that was never true. But with PACE, the rules are waived. Not with the other thing, not with waiver, not with traditional Medicaid. The rules are still in effect. But with regard to PACE, very explicit. You can still qualify. So I'm just saying it, and I hate to say it, because call before midnight tonight because this program's going away. But the fact of the matter is the program is going away. We just don't know when. So is it you, Jerry, with the COPD or somebody else?
Yes, and I am on oxygen therapy.
That's one of the absolute qualifications for it. So you can stay at home, you can transfer, you can do the activities of daily life, all the rest of this stuff. If you're on oxygen therapy, then you qualify medically for the PACE. Then it's just a matter of getting you qualified financially. And what I'm telling you is that right now, until they change the rules, and God knows when they're going to do that, because I don't know, I have no predictive power that way. It could really work out for you. So the answer is, give us a call if you'd like. There's no charge to find out.
Contact? Who would I contact in the government?
That's a good question. If you contact us, yeah. So, well, it's the PACE program. Look up PACE, Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. You can search that online, right? So it's Care Circles and you're in Coopersville, yeah. Well, it might be the Muskegon, might be Life Circles for you. But if you give us a call, and we'll stick you in we'll point you in the right direction. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
so much.
Jerry. You betcha.